Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give our praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rechahakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well in peace, blessings, and safety to the Lord's elect. All right. This is your brother Yeshaya coming back with a lesson, a video. Basically, we have a partial lunar eclipse, to occur roughly, they say August 27 to 28. All right. Now, we know that these are signs that the Lord, he's basically communicating with us, man. Okay. So he's letting us know, the ones that believe and the ones that have the hope that, hey, he's working. Okay. The scriptures say, it's basically it's time for the Lord to work, or, I think it's in Psalms. It's time for, the Lord to work. So he's definitely, doing his thing, man. All right. So, and the majority of these people, they don't know what's going on. All right. They're outside of the so-called know. Well, they're outside of the know. All right. Of these prophecies, what's coming down the pike. All right. But this is for us to, not only to observe the signs of the times, but also to what? Basically, the Lord has given us certain nuggets that, to continue our, continue our works and continue our faith, man. And to boost our faith, Salakia, to boost our faith. So without further ado, this is Lunar Eclipse 2026 guide, everything to know about this week's near total celestial spectacle. Okay, now this is a spectacle to people, man, but like the book of Isaiah goes into, and I'll get it, actually. So I'm going to read a little bit of this article. During the peak of the eclipse at 4:13 a.m., okay, the moon's disk will be within Earth's umbra, creating almost complete darkness for some portions of North America, South America, Europe, and Western Africa. All right. So, the takeaway: partial lunar eclipse to occur on August 27th to 28th. The partial lunar eclipse will be visible across the entire U.S. This is the best lunar eclipse viewing until June 2029. Like, Lord willing, Lord willing, we don't make it there, but that's very, that's the Lord showing His work, man. All right, and we had a eclipse on the new moon. Okay, it was a partial eclipse, I believe, but this one they're saying that it's gonna be, it's gonna be a partial lunar eclipse. All right, and the Lord does put signs, so like it's signs in the moon, okay, to basically dictate the times, okay, and we're definitely at the end. All right, and this is definitely something that us brothers, we take dear to heart, because we're understanding that the Lord is communicating with us and letting us know, that, hey, it's the time is near, because we don't know when the time is going to come. The scriptures say, hey, nobody knows the time except, except Yahweh, except the Most High, Salakia, except the Most High, right? So we are, we're basically, I ain't gonna say prisoners of times, but we're prisoners of hope, man. So we're just waiting along with Yahushua. Yahushua doesn't even know, But at the same time, the Lord does give us key markers, all right, and indicators of when the time of, His Son, all right, to revisit the earth, okay, and it's near, all right. So astronomers and sky watchers are bracing for another celestial event to dazzle the sky this week, as a partial lunar eclipse takes place from August 27th to 28th. On August 28th, and starting the evening of the 27th in some time zones, the moon will pass into the shadow of Earth, creating a deep particle eclipse. All right. The particle phase of the eclipse will occur at 2:34 p.m., where the umbra's effect will take a large bite out of the moon, also turning it into a picturesque copper color. All right, because the moon will track so deeply into the shadow, viewers can expect the obscured portion of the moon to take on a dramatic, rusty, coppery, or reddish tint, similar to the traditional blood moon. All right, the Fox Forecast Center said. So, yeah, this is the Lord communicating with His servants, man. That if you're getting low in faith, just know that the Lord is working, man, and He will show these signs, to us, man. All right. The peak of the eclipse will occur around midnight for most locations, with the East Coast kicking things off a bit earlier in the evening, and others in the West seeing the peak closer to 9 p.m. So yeah, and it's gonna be visible like the last one that we had during the full moon. I mean the new moon. All right, because like brothers have been saying, the Lord is putting a lot of His high holy days and Sabbaths and new moons on Esau's made up holidays, right? And that's been that, and we know that the Lord doesn't do anything by chance, man. So this is very important. All right, the signs of the times, man. All right. So without further ado, let me go ahead and get some scriptures. I'm gonna start off with shit. The book of Sirach. Uh, the book of Sirach, chapter. Is it 37? Salakia. It's 38. Sirach 43. The pride of the height, the clear firmament, the beauty of heaven with its glorious shew. The sun, when it appeareth, declaring at his rising a marvelous instrument, the work of the Most High. At noon it parcheth the country, and who can abide the burning heat thereof? So let me skip down to verse 5. Great is the Lord that made it, and at his commandment runneth hastily. He made the moon also to serve in her season for a declaration of times and a sign of the world. So there you go. Okay, he made these ordinances, or these certain ordinances, especially the sun and the moon, to basically be a declaration, like the scriptures say, of the signs of the times. And we had Issachar, the tribe of Issachar. They were, basically, I ain't gonna say stargazers, but they were responsible at a point in time, basically, to observe the signs and the times. Okay, so that's an important thing. All right, in our culture, and our heritage, us as Israelites. All right, to basically watch these signs, because the Lord, as us being His people, He communicates with us, man. Okay, He communicates with us, and He does it through strange times and strange signs. Okay, and a lot of these people, they are, like the scriptures say, they basically are dismayed. All right, the heathen is dismayed by the signs of the times. Right. I'll go ahead and get that next. He made the moon also to serve in her season for a declaration of times and a sign of the world. From the moon is a sign of feast and a light that decreaseth in her perfection. So there you go. All right. It decreases in her perfection. Basically, the moon has different faces. So it'll wane, it wanes and it waxes. Okay. So wane is basically to decrease, and waxing is basically it increases. So basically, our new moon, all right, which is basically, a dark moon, like they call it. All right. When it goes from the full to the new moon, that's the moon decreasing in her perfection. Okay. So that's how that's another telltale sign that basically the new moon is the start of our month. All right. Great is the Lord that made it, and that his commandment, Salakia. Yeah. Great is the Lord that made it, and that his commandment runneth hastily. He made the moon also to serve in her season for a declaration of times and a sign of the world. From the moon is a sign of feast, a light that decreaseth in her perfection. The month is called after her name, increasing wonderfully in her changing, being an instrument of the armies above, shining in the firmament of heaven. The beauty of heaven, the glory of the stars, and ornament giving light in the highest places of the Lord. So it's a very important thing that we watch these the moon, okay, and the things that the Lord is basically relaying to us, man. You know, uh, it's like it's Jeremiah 10. All right, hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven. For the heathen are dismayed at them. For the customs of the people are vain. For one cutteth out a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workmen with the axe. So that's going into, basically your modern day Christmas, Saturnalia, okay, like it was called, but it's a very pagan, wicked ass custom. But the first part, okay, verse 2 is what I want to focus on. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. So you got a lot of these the what do they call it? What does the scripture call them? Monthly prognosticators. Okay, they are they're basically looking at the signs, and they're doing witchcraft, and they're doing sorcery, because they know that these certain phenomenon that happens, it carries a spiritual energy, and they're using on the left hand side. But for us, we're using on the right hand side by first and foremost observing it, okay, and knowing what it is that the Lord is basically, he's on his way to, and it's a lot of things. All right, it's a lot of things that's happening right now, man. You got people dying left and right, man. People dying are croaking, getting sent up to the spiritual world. I forgot, it was a slew of actors that just died. Just people just are getting their judgment, man. All right, if you don't know that this is we're right around the corner of World War III, the implication of the chip, the micro C hip, all right, and ultimately the Lord's return, okay, because he's going to return in the middle of World War III, right? So we're watching, man, okay, and it's a beautiful time, to be in the know, all right. So let's go ahead and go to Genesis 2. And actually, yeah, Genesis 1. And we're gonna go skip down to 14. All right, and the power said, because right here, let me go ahead and go in the blue letter. All right, like I did in one of my lessons previously. All right. So Genesis 1 and 5. And the powers, see, when it says God right here, this whole Bible is meant to be a snare, okay, and a trap, all right? Because Yahushua himself is what? A stone of stumbling and a rock of offense. So Yahushua was tripping up people left and right, man, because it's only meant for certain people to get it, man, the elect. So this the word God, Elohim, all right, rulers, judges, divine ones, angels, gods, plural, okay. So that was a body of angels, all right, that were working on the earth, all right, when before those 1,000 year periods, which is known as the 6 days and they rested on the seventh, all right. So yeah, let me read down to the point. Yeah, verse 14. And the powers said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and to let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years, and let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. And it was so. So there you go. The Lord puts, certain they call it phenomena, or something basically strange, okay, because that's what the word phenomena means. It's something like an outlier or something peculiar, all right, that they put in the media, but at the same time, behind the scenes, they're doing all their witchcraft. All right, they're doing seances. They're doing everything to try to basically ride the wave, or not ride the wave, but basically use the spirit on the left hand side. Because hey, like the scriptures say, he knoweth that he have but a short time, right? So let's go to that scripture, monthly prognosticators. Let me see if it'll come up. There it is, Isaiah 47 and 13. Thou art weary in the multitude of thy counsels. Let now the astrologers, the stargazers, the monthly prognosticators stand up and save thee from these things that shall come upon thee. And that's the Lord being, facetious, being sarcastic. Okay, it's not gonna work. All right, you can go ahead and try to, read the signs of the times. All right, on the left hand side, all you want, Esau, or all these wicked people, but especially Esau, Edom. But hey, man, that day is gonna hit y'all hard, like Isaiah 14 goes into, when y'all they get out of power. All right, it's gonna be like lightning. Okay, this Lucifer basically is gonna fall out of their power in a hard, fast fashion as light hitting the ground, man. Okay, and Lucifer is basically a group of people. All right, the illuminated ones. Okay, which are basically the top banking families. All right, 13 banking families that basically run this world through that lion, basically through the mouth of the lion, or the mouth as it speaks of, which is talking about Great Britain, with all, well, it's basically where they run their legislatives through. All right, all the laws and all the basically things that dictate the world and how it's ran and how you people operate come through Britain. Great Britain, so to say. So Isaiah 47 and 12, stand now with thine enchantments and with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. If so be thou shalt be able to profit, if so thou mayest prevail. So the Lord is basically poking fun at y'all, man. And we know the end all be all. All right, y'all are going to fall out of power in that outstanding fashion, okay, as pursuant to Isaiah 14. And, hey, we're going to get up out of here, Lord willing. Hey, we be of the elect. So I'm going to end it with that. Lord willing, it was edifying. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rekah, Kudash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who rule well in peace, blessings, safety to the Lord's elect. Shalom.